How to be consistent. A simple secret to personal development. They lied to you. They told you that success is all about talent, luck, or finding the perfect moment. But here's the hard truth no one's brave enough to say. Success doesn't care how talented you are. It cares how consistent you are. And if you can't master that one skill, the ability to show up daily, even when no one's watching, then no strategy, no mentor, no millionaire morning routine will ever save you. What if I told you there's a method so simple, so painfully obvious, that most people dismiss it? A method that's been used by world-class performers, elite athletes, and self-made millionaires to transform their habits and their lives. Starting with just one daily action? It's called the Law of 100, and it doesn't require perfection. Just discipline, a little stubbornness, and a willingness to do the work when it's boring. And here's the best part. You don't need to change everything. Just one thing. One keystone habit that triggers the domino effect. You ready for that? Because in this video, I'm going to show you how to build unstoppable momentum, how to rewire your brain, and how to become the kind of person who doesn't just dream big, but delivers. But first, let's talk about why something so simple is still so hard for most people. Now let me ask you, what would happen if, starting today, you actually followed through? What if you picked one keystone habit, committed to the Law of 100, and refused to negotiate with your excuses? Where would you be in 100 days? In 1 year? In 5? Because the truth is, you're not lacking potential. You're not too late. You're not too old. You've just been stopping too soon. But what if this time, you didn't? Imagine looking back and realizing that today, right now, was the moment it all began. You decided to stop chasing motivation and started mastering disciplina diaria. You stopped quitting on yourself and chose persistentia. So tell me, what's the one habit you're going to commit to for the next 100 days? Drop it in the comments. I want to see who's serious, who's ready, who's done playing small. And if this hit home for you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and let's keep growing together. Because we're just getting started, and the best version of you? They're closer than you think. Simplicity versus ease. Sometimes, the greatest truths are the ones we overlook. Success, for instance, is deceptively simple. But that doesn't mean it's easy. And here's the kicker. Most people fail not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do what they already know. Why? Because doing something once is easy. Doing it every single day? That's where consistency enters the room, sits down, and starts asking the hard questions. Not the kind of questions that sound like math problems, but the kind that reveal who you really are when nobody's watching. It's easy to say, I want to change my life. Everyone says that on a Monday morning. What's hard is getting up on day 37 of your commitment. Maybe it's raining, maybe your boss yelled at you, maybe you didn't sleep well, and still doing the thing. Still showing up. That's the difference between a dreamer and a builder. A dreamer waits for motivation. A builder embraces discipline. They choose action daily over occasional inspiration. It's the Law of 100 in motion, and it doesn't care how you feel, it only cares that you show up. Think about it. Brushing your teeth takes what, 2 minutes? Simple, right? But go 10 days without doing it, and suddenly the consequences aren't so invisible anymore. The same logic applies to success. It's a compounding process. Each action you take stacks on top of the last. It's like planting seeds every day, even if it looks like nothing's growing. Because eventually, something does, but only if you stick around long enough to see it. And to do that, well, you're going to need a solid habit to lean on. Find your keystone habit. Now, if success were a structure, your keystone habit would be the stone that holds the entire arch together. You shift one habit, just one, and suddenly a dozen other things start shifting too. You stop snoozing your alarm and start showing up on time. You go for a quick morning run, and your cravings shift from fast food to clean fuel. That's the magic of alignment. Not through force, but through flow. The right habit is a domino. Once it falls, the rest follow. So, how do you find that keystone habit for yourself? Simple. Ask, what one daily action would radically change the direction of my life if I committed to it for 100 days? For some, it's waking up at 5 a.m., no excuses, just commitment. For others, it's getting to the gym, no matter how short the session. Maybe it's reading 10 pages of a good book, Think and Grow Rich, Atomic Habits, The Power of Now. The point isn't volume. It's identity. Your identity begins to shift the moment you act like the version of you you've always dreamed of becoming. And the beauty of choosing one habit? It simplifies your focus. No more juggling 17 things and burning out by week 2. This is about building discipline daily and letting that discipline ripple across your life. It's how mental clutter clears, how self-respect grows, and how new doors begin to open. Because once that habit is locked in, you're not the same anymore. You're operating from a different place. And that's where the law of 100 begins to unfold its real power. The law of 100. Here's where the game changes. The law of 100. One action. Done every single day. For 100 straight days. Not most days. Not when it's convenient. Every day. Why? Because intensity gets applause, but consistency builds empires. You don't become successful by sprinting occasionally. You get there by walking forward daily, even when the world's not watching, especially then. Let's say you commit to your keystone habit, waking up at 5 a.m. Not just on weekdays. Not just when you're in the mood. Every single morning. Suddenly, your identity begins to change. You're no longer the person who tries. You become the person who does. And that's the beauty of this law. It forces change. It demands comprometimento. You'll have to shift your schedule. Drop old habits. Maybe even say no to people who drain your energy. But in return, you get results that others only dream about. Now, the first few weeks won't feel magical. You might even question yourself, is this working? That's the trap. Don't fall for it. Because what you're building isn't just discipline, it's neuroplasticity. Your brain is rewiring. Bit by bit, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted. You're laying the foundation for something much bigger. And that foundation, it gets stronger when you learn to disappear for 100 days. Disappear for 100 days. Sometimes, the loudest progress happens in silence. That's why I tell people, disappear for 100 days. Not from life, not from your family, but from distractions. From social media scrolls that steal your time. From conversations that go nowhere. From the version of yourself that's addicted to comfort. You don't have to vanish physically. Just mentally check in and lock yourself into your growth. This is about going all in. All focus. No fluff. You see, when you cut out the noise, something interesting happens. You finally hear yourself. Your real self. The one who's been buried under notifications, opinions, and doubts. For 100 days, let your action daily speak louder than any caption ever could. Stop posting progress, live it. Go ghost on the algorithm and show up in your own life. You'll be surprised how fast your momentum grows when you stop chasing applause and start chasing mastery. And no, it won't be easy. Your old patterns will beg you to come back. Friends might not get it, but let them talk. Because in 100 days, they won't recognize you. Your consistency will be louder than any explanation. Your mentalidad de suceso will be built, not borrowed. While the world keeps scrolling, you'll be transforming. And in this quiet place, this sacred solitude, your brain begins clearing the old trails and cutting a new one. Right through the forest. How the brain works, the forest analogy. Imagine your brain like a dense, untouched forest. Every thought, every habit, is a trail that's been walked before. The more you repeat a behavior, the more that path gets cleared, packed down, easy to follow. That's why it's so hard to break bad habits. They're the well-worn highways of your mind. Hitting snooze? That's a 6-lane freeway. But waking up early? That's hacking your way through with a machete. Not impossible, just uncomfortable. At first, every time you choose a new behavior, your keystone habit, you're carving a fresh trail through the jungle. The first few steps? Brutal. Thorns of resistance. Trees of doubt. But with disciplina diaria, that rough path starts to clear. After 30 days, it's a dirt road. After 60, it's a trail. After 100, it's a new default. And that, my friend, is neuroplasticity in motion. Your brain reshaping itself to support the life you want to build. That's why giving up too soon is so tragic. You're not just quitting a habit. You're abandoning the path before it becomes walkable. And if you always turn back, you'll keep ending up at the same dead ends. But if you stay consistent, if you stay persistent, you'll soon discover something incredible. Walking that new path becomes easier than the old one. And that's when everything starts to change. And if you're wondering how to keep walking it, well, that's where the Seinfeld Calendar comes in. The Seinfeld Method. Let me tell you a little story about Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, that Jerry. Early in his career, he didn't rely on talent alone. He relied on consistency. Every single day, he sat down to write jokes. Some were good. Most were awful. But that wasn't the point. What mattered was doing it daily. So, what did he do? He hung a big calendar on his wall, grabbed a red marker, and every day he wrote jokes, he'd put a giant red X on the date. Day by day, those X's turned into a chain. And soon, he didn't just want to write jokes, he wanted to not break the chain. That's the genius behind the Seinfeld Calendar. It transforms discipline into a game. A challenge. A personal scoreboard. You're no longer asking, should I do it today? You're asking, will I let today be the day I break the chain? It's simple, but incredibly effective. And the best part? You can apply it to any keystone habit you choose. Whether it's journaling, running, meditating, or reading, the rule is the same. Mark the day, build the chain. Because success isn't about perfect days. It's about showing up, even when you're tired, uninspired, or overwhelmed. That's how the crecimento composto begins. One red X at a time. And soon, you're not just building habits. You're building identity. And once your identity shifts, well, now we've unlocked the real reason this works. Why this works? Here's the secret most people miss. Success has very little to do with talent. It has everything to do with how consistent you're willing to be when no one's clapping for you. The most successful people? They're not the smartest in the room. They're the ones who showed up yesterday, today, and will show up again tomorrow. Over and over. That's consistency. That's comprometimento. And when you combine that with disciplina diaria, you start building momentum most people only wish for. You see, consistency leads to compounding, like interest in a savings account. But instead of money, you're investing in your mindset, your habits, your skills. Each small win stacks. Each repeated action reinforces identity. Every day you follow through, you're teaching your brain, this is who I am now. And the more you do it, the harder it becomes to stop. Not because of motivation, but because it becomes second nature. That's the engine behind transformação pessoal. And let's be real, failure only happens when you stop showing up. Most people think they've failed when they don't see fast results. But that's not failure, it's impatience. True failure is when you let autosabotage convince you to quit. So the formula is simple. Action daily plus no excuses plus don't quit equals success. But now, we've got to talk about the thing that kills action before it even begins: overthinking. Yep. Time for a little mindset shift. Mindset shift. Here's the truth. Most people don't need more information, they need less hesitation. Overthinking is the silent killer of dreams. The moment you say, "What if I'm not ready?" you've already lost momentum. And you know what's wild? You don't even need to believe in yourself to start. That's right. Belief is not a prerequisite for action. But action. That's the soil where belief grows. You want confidence? Show up when it's hard. That's how força de vontade is forged. Your brain, bless its heart, tries to protect you from discomfort. It says, play it safe. Wait till you're ready. Let's avoid failure. But growth, it lives on the other side of that voice. That's why most people quit right before a breakthrough. They hit a wall, call it a sign, and walk away, when really, it was just a test. One more rep, one more pitch, one more early morning, and boom. Breakthrough. But it only shows up for those who don't give up. So the question is, how do you stop thinking and start doing? You train your brain to move before it talks you out of it. You reduce friction. Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Turn off your phone an hour early. Say yes before fear says wait. And when that little voice whispers, "You're not ready," you whisper back, "I'm doing it anyway." Because you never know when your bamboo tree moment is about to burst through the ground. The bamboo tree analogy. Imagine planting a seed, and for 6 years, nothing breaks the surface. You water it. You nurture it. Sunlight, soil, care, and still, nothing. Friends start questioning you. Doubts creep in. But then, in the 6th year, something miraculous happens. That bamboo shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. That's not magic. It's crecimiento composto. It was growing the whole time. Just underground, in silence. Just like your progress might be. Your journey works the same way. The reps you put in today may not bloom tomorrow. But beneath the surface, your neuroplasticity is reshaping who you are. Your keystone habit is building roots. Your daily effort is stockpiling resilience. And then one day, suddenly, the results show up. People call it overnight success, but you'll know better. You'll know it was 100 days of invisible sweat, done while nobody was watching. And the question becomes, can you hold the vision long enough to see it sprout? Can you trust the process when results are still hiding? Because most won't. Most will quit in year 2 or week 3. But if you can stay consistent, if you stick to your law of 100 and push past your limits, what sprouts from the ground won't just be success. It'll be a new version of you. And to unlock that version, all it takes is one decision. Action plan. Alright, now let's get practical. Enough theory. Here's your 3-step roadmap to transformation. Step 1. Decide your keystone habit. One thing. Not 10. Not 5. Just one daily action that, if done consistently, will ripple into every corner of your life. Is it waking up early? Hitting the gym? Reading 10 pages a day? Making 5 business calls? Choose something that aligns with who you want to become, not who you've been. Step 2. Commit to that habit for 100 straight days. Not 97. Not when it's convenient. This is where the law of 100 becomes your battlefield. Draw your calendar. Set your red marker. Use the Seinfeld Calendar method. And most of all, eliminate your escape routes. Tell a friend. Announce it to someone who'll hold you accountable. Build barriers around your commitment like it's sacred, because it is. Step 3. Don't quit. No matter what. Rain, shine, tired, busy, doesn't matter. This is how you rewire your brain, break through your limits, and finally prove to yourself that you're not a quitter. This is how you escape the trap of auto-sabotage. Remember, the version of you 5 years from now is depending on the action you take today. The only thing between where you are and who you want to be is whether or not you'll stay in the game. Let me ask you something. Where would you be right now if you hadn't given up on that goal 5 years ago? If you had stayed consistent, followed through, refused to fold under pressure, how different would your life look? The truth is, most of us aren't suffering from lack of potential. We're suffering from lack of persistentia, from giving up just when things were about to click. But imagine what would happen if this time you didn't stop. What if, starting today, you made a silent vow to yourself, when I start something, I finish it. No more maybes. No more excuses. You've got neuroplasticity on your side, time on your side, and now you've got a plan. Your only job? Show up. Every day. With your AKO diarrhea. With your red marker. With your eyes set on that future version of you who's stronger, sharper, calmer, and 100 days ahead of where you are now. Because if you could really see what's waiting for you on the other side of consistency, you'd stop looking for shortcuts. You'd stop asking, how long will it take? And start saying, as long as it takes. Because success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the committed. And if you're willing to step up, you're about to meet the version of you that you've only imagined until now.